Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Shaymin and welcome to another anime review. Slice of life anime often gets overlooked. I think that a lot of people are more interested in the major action fight scenes, the drama, the intensity that other shows give, but in slice of life anime, most of the time it is just very generic drama and very quiet and relaxed, funny atmosphere that often draws regular viewers away. But this is a very unique slice of life anime, and I honestly think that it would be a shame to overlook something like this. Now, there's a particular charm to slice of life anime. Something like Lucky Star, which got a lot of attention, is just about a group of girls talking about day-to-day things that you would get anywhere, but in a very comedic and interesting atmosphere. And this show, well, isn't about the regular real world. It's a slice of life anime set in a different world. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Urara Meirochou. I hope I said that correctly. This story takes place in Labyrinth Town, a town specifically designated to fortune telling, and fortune tellers from all over the world gather in this town to do their thing. Now, what's interesting about this scenario is that fortune telling in this town is designated by ranking. So, rank 10 Urara are set around the outside perimeter of the city and are not allowed inside the city. There are Urara ranked higher than 10 on the outskirts of the city that are allowed past the gates that lead them to further and further into the city. They set up shop there because the visitors who often come from all over the world and visit this place are unable to enter past the 10 gate. So, in this in particular city, there is the 10 gate on the outside, the 9 gate inside, and all the way to the 1 gate where very, very few of the rank 1 Uraras live at the very center of the city. Now, this story isn't about those people, it is about Chia. Now, Chia is a girl that was raised in the wilderness, out by her, well, not her lonesome. She does have one person that she trusts and cared for her. But she got a letter, just like every 15-year-old girl, to come to the city and become an apprentice Urara. Now, in this particular world, only women have the ability to channel the gods' power and accurately predict the future. And Uraras specifically depend on that power to make those predictions and give people advice on how to lead their future based on those predictions. But for Chia, it's not about that. She uses this as an excuse to live in the city and search for her mother, which was rumored to be in the city. So she comes to the city with a pack of wild animals that she calls her friends. And while many other parts of the world would look down on this fortune-telling world, Chia believes that this is the place where her mother lives, and she is full on expecting to run around the city and look for her. But she comes into trouble when she realizes she can't get past the gate or she would be expelled from the city and not allowed to re-enter. So her mission to find her mother would fall flat. So now that Chia knows this, she has to start from square one Firstly, she needs to try and find out her mother's name and appearance because she doesn't even know that much.
じゃあまず母親の名前は？
知らない。
年は？
知らない。
外見の特徴は？
知らない。
他に何か知ってることは？
But, in order to find out, she believes that the rank 1 legendary Urara will be able to find out her mother's name and appearance for her, and even possibly give her the exact location. The only problem is the only way to see that rank 1 Urara is to become a rank 1 Urara, or somehow find her while she's just walking around, despite the fact that she nor a lot of people knows what she even looks like. So Chia starts off as a rank 10, and that is the lowest ranking Urara that you can possibly be. And she needs to try and become a rank 1 in order to talk to the legendary rank 1 Urara about her mother's location. So the only way to unlock more of the town is to increase her rank, and she does that by training every day with 3 other ladies and her teacher to learn the ways of the fortune teller and accurately predict the future to become a rank 1 Urara. So I'm going to give this plot a 4 out of 5 out of 10. 4.5 out of 10. Because I want you guys to name a show quite like this one, and the answer is you probably can't. This is a very interesting and unique storyline that I personally haven't even come across. Now, looking it up on my anime list for suggestions, I couldn't even find anything about fortune telling as the main aspect of the show, and that makes this really intriguing, you know? And especially for me, I've watched over 300 anime series, and I haven't had fortune telling be a very, very major role in a show quite like this one. And not only that, but the characters in this show are really well done, which we go to right now. So we've got Chia, the eccentric wild girl that was raised in the wilderness, who has no common sense and knows nothing of the ways of humanity outside her wilderness forest. She often is followed by a group of wild animals, and she's very good at parkour. I actually wrote that down. She can jump on top of roofs, and man, she is hella athletic. It's kind of insane. But she's a very, very interesting and really cool character that really cares a lot about her friends and has a knack for this Urara business. Now we have Nono Natsume, who is the younger sister of Nina Natsume, their teacher. She's a very quiet girl who is extremely shy, and she tells the future through ventriloquism with her little doll. And she's a very honest and good, hardworking friend that just has a major problem when talking to new people. So especially at the beginning, she doesn't really have a whole lot of experience talking to people, and she is extremely shy, hiding behind her older sister and trying not to be seen. Now there's Kon Tatsumi, the intelligent daughter of a high-ranking Urara from inside the city. And she wants to be the greatest Urara in the world. She's extremely straightforward and very smart, but is also a very awkward girl that doesn't really know how to handle friendship very well. She's a very diligent worker, and she wears a ribbon that makes it look like she has ears that everyone likes to mess with and talk about how she looks like an animal. And then finally, there's Kome Yukimi, an eccentric young girl who is enamored with Western culture, i.e. Europe, and has been infatuated with the idea of becoming a witch. She is always getting into trouble and isn't very intelligent, often joining Chia as the only two of the four to often fail the exams that they are given as Urara. And despite being a troublemaker, she honestly cares for the other girls and is very kind-hearted. With these 4 girls, they all try to coincide with one another, and they all have fun and enjoyable times while also being rivals, often talking about how they're going to have to beat each other in order to become the best Urara in the world. These characters are all really well thought out and interesting, each one having their own specific scenario, so I give these characters a 4 out of 5. Not only these 4, but all the characters in general, even going down to the police officer lady and her entourage that follows her around. Moving on now to the opening as well as music in this show, and honestly, I've got to get this a 2 out of 5. The opening is kind of annoying and not really very good in my opinion, and the soundtrack is about what you would expect from a soundtrack. It has its moments, but honestly, the soundtrack isn't all that. It doesn't really stand out too much, so I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 on the music aspect. And similarly, the animation doesn't really stick out either. It's a slice of life anime, so they really don't have to do too much, and most slice of life anime will not have exactly a super incredible, animation budget. So a solid 3 out of 5 for the animation, and there's not really much else to say about that. This show is only available in sub. It does not have a dub. That being said, I think the sub is really good and has a lot of really good moments in the show that I think are very well done. So overall, the show is actually really solid as a slice of life-esque anime. Just seeing the girls as they train to become number 1 ranked Urara, as they learn from their teacher every single day, and they hang out together and they talk about each other's problems. I think that it's a really well put together and interesting show. Not to mention the fact that it's unique in the sense that I again couldn't even find another show that was anything like it, which is really, really hard to do in the anime industry nowadays. And especially considering this one came out earlier this year, that is just very, very impressive in my opinion. The idea of this remote town and fortune telling is very interesting. However, it does lose points because we don't really get much about the town. How do the town stay in business? And especially if people aren't allowed inside the 9th ranked barrier, how do they make money? Do other fortune tellers get to the first fortune teller to learn about their futures because they're the best at it? I don't really know exactly how the world works, as well as how the financial industry of that world could even function. My biggest problem is that normally you wouldn't have to tell me, you just have to show me, oh, this is actually also a coffee shop, bam, look at that, so all of these actually have other industries. But they didn't show me that, and so I don't know whether or not this is actually the case. The characters are really fun and have a unique spin on concepts that make them really stand out. And the animation and music were really average, but the charming story and excellent characters really made up for that in a sense. And I'm going to ultimately rate this show a 3.5 out of 5. It's a very, very good show, and I honestly highly recommend it for anyone who really wants a nice, relaxing anime or is very interesting in this concept, just like I was when I first found out about this show. It's not like anything really that's out there, and it really does a good job with what it has. My only issue is that I doubt it will ever get a second season, so we won't actually get to see the ending, I guess you could say. I don't know whether or not that's going to be the case. Obviously, this came out earlier this year. We could get one next year or the year after, but I would not count on it, which definitely takes a little bit away from the score as well. But I did rate it a 3.5 out of 5, so I think it's a very, very good show. Recommendations, this one was a little hard, again, because there's not really anything like this show out there. It's a very, very unique concept. But I'm going to go with Gochuman wa Usagi Desu Ka. which I believe is in English, is this order a rabbit? I'm pretty sure. But it's about a group of girls in a cafe that works together in a slice of life type comedy. And it also has a very slow developing and unique concept. Just like this one, there isn't really a whole hell of a lot about a group of girls working as at coffee shops, and I think it's a really, really good show. Not to mention, it is funny and has a very similar moe-ish design to it. It's also completely about girls, and just like this one, it does have those moments of Yuriism that kind of undertone the show in general. So I think that that's a thing. And my other concept is New Game. Also, in a similar sense, four girls doing a job at a game company with, under their older senpai women that are veterans in the industry, and all four of them want to become excellent at it and become like leads in the gaming industry. So it has a very kind of similar shape, and the characters are also kind of similar. You've got the quiet one, you've got the eccentric one, you've got the really intelligent one. You really have a very good set of characters in that as well. It also has the Yuri undertones, and even the one or two little insignificant pieces of slight fan service that definitely add to the show in general. I honestly think that this is a really good show. I know I didn't spend a whole hell of a lot of time on it, but I do think that this show is really worth a lot of people's time, especially, even if you don't like slice of life anime all that much. I do think that you might actually like this show. My biggest problem, of course, this show doesn't have a dub, and I don't see it getting one anytime soon, but I definitely think that it is worth your time and effort to watch this show, and I think that ultimately this is going to be a show that is one of the better slice of life anime that I have watched. So I definitely highly recommend it. So if you guys liked this episode, make sure you click that thumbs up button down below for me, because you already know that I really, really appreciate all the support. Comment in the comment section. Let me know questions, concerns, comments about this series and this episode. I really would love to hear from you guys, and prepare for a lot more. You're going to see a lot of these anime reviews over the coming weeks, because as the anime season ends, I'm going to be binge watching just lots of anime. So I'd highly recommend sticking around. Click that subscribe button and stay tuned for future episodes about anime and my reviews of them. So especially if you liked this video, if you thought my explanation was pretty good without spoiling too much, I would highly, highly, highly recommend clicking the subscribe button and staying tuned for the future episodes of this series. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.